Representing the cohort of the Specialist Diploma in Educational Therapy English Support is Benetta Kwan. Do you remember what sparked your passion to be in the field of education? For our valedictorian today, her passion to work with children began when she taught her first child back in 2014. It was that very first experience that inspired her to continue making a difference in the lives of children. She went on to graduate as silver medalist in the cohort with Ngee Polytechnic with a diploma in child psychology and early education, as well as to obtain a degree in psychology. While pursuing her studies, she continued to gather more experience working with young people beyond the field of education. This includes volunteering in projects that focus on strengthening teenagers' social-emotional well-being. Today, she strongly believes that education and a child's mental well-being works hand in hand for the best kind of learning to occur. Please join me in welcoming the valedictorian for the Specialist Diploma in Educational Therapy, Kwan Benetta.
Good morning, Mr. Eric Lee, members of the Executive Committee, Mr. Lee Xiang, honored guests, faculty members of the DAS Academy, fellow graduates, and all present at this ceremony. I am Benetta, and it is a great honor to stand before you as the representative of the class of 2021 Specialist Diploma in Educational Therapy. Today, it is a momentous day for us to be thankful and inspired. First, we have much to be thankful for. As trainee educational therapists, we have received excellent training so that we will be well equipped, ready to nurture our students. Also, we have garnered a considerable amount of support from our lecturers in DAS Academy. Personally, my colleagues at Choa Chu Kang have been wonderful. Thank you for always allowing me to pick your brains and always generously sharing your knowledge with me. Of course, our journey here thus far could not have been possible without the administrative staff, and special thanks to those from my own center in Choa Chu Kang who have always guided us in non-related teaching matters. I believe all of us here could not have made it this far today without the support of our colleagues within each of our centers. To my batchmates, it has officially been a year since we had our very own students to teach. We are a special batch, for we began our journey here at DAS at the height of the pandemic. It was definitely a trying time for us, trying to bond with our new students, translating our lessons to virtual mode, and experimenting with online teaching. So congratulations to us for being able to transit from face-to-face to online lessons, learning tips and tricks, making this transition a smooth one for ourselves, our parents, as well as our students. Of course, not forgetting the curriculum team, our educational advisors. A big round of applause to all of you for your time and effort that you have lent us, your expertise as well, to ensure that we continue to deliver quality lessons to all of our students. Education has always meant more to me than just academics. It is a time where we grow our characters and attitudes towards life. When I pursued my diploma in child psychology and early education 8 years ago, my eyes were open to a world, but from a child's perspective. More specifically, I saw two different kinds of worlds from two different groups of children. One, a healthy child who always had the right support. She was doing well in class, in their academics as well as their social-emotional self. This healthy child always raised their hands to ask questions without hesitation, always lending a helping hand to anyone in need. This was a confident child who was all equipped with the right support to learn. On the other hand, we had a struggling child. This 8-year-old came to me as an after-school program for a mathematics remedial class. Simple math sums had the child putting the head on her table, and she was often dropping her pencil on the floor as just a form of task avoidance. Manipulatives that I thought would excite her to learn ended up being toys for her to build figurines instead of using them to solve the math sums that I've given her. As a young budding educator, I was confused. How could the child not even want to try to do her work? I was frustrated and I was impatient. But then I realized that I was the one who had the wrong end product in mind. I went into this program with the sole intention that I must help her do well in math and I must help her to pass her exams. But what I didn't realize was that the child simply didn't feel safe enough to learn. Maybe she was afraid of failure, or maybe she was afraid of being looked down by yet another teacher who thinks that she can't solve a simple math sum. Or maybe she has a timid personality and she was afraid to ask for help, so she was cautious of new teachers. But what I didn't realize was that I held the key to her learning. As an educator, I have the power to help her overcome her fears, and that I could change this child's perspective to make her feel that the classroom was a safe place for her. Today, I am blessed to be able to put my passion into my work. Often, our students here at DAS present all sorts of unique challenges. They come with comorbidities besides dyslexia, which can act as a hindrance to their learning. Imagine, they are already tremendously challenged in school. Most of them struggle with academics. Perhaps they have to deal with teasing from their classmates just because they could not read and spell. The environment in school is so tough and so emotionally unsafe for them. So, can we really blame them for being so guarded? I'm sure we all can relate to this experience, that we have that one guarded student who had a meltdown that lasted the entire lesson, and that just because they didn't succeed the first time. I remember the first time this happened to me. I felt so discouraged. I felt like I failed my student. I felt like I could have reduced their workload. I felt like I could have used more encouraging words. I just felt so many things. But I remember that this child had a meltdown because he felt unsafe. And suddenly, I remember that I have the power to make him feel safe. And to make the lesson better, I knew that I've got to be equipped to build rapport with this student. So I found out his interests, what motivates him, what his fears were. We slowly navigated through the ups and downs of every lesson. So we spent 5 minutes at the end of each class talking about why he could have felt upset just now and what both of us can do better next week. And today, this boy never fails to ask me every single week, "Teacher Ben, can you please give me the hardest word for spelling?" My journey here with these students has undeniably been demanding, but equally fruitful as well. Coming from years in being in a sports team, we have this saying, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So it is like a competition. It's a test of physical and mental endurance, and we have to be able to bounce back from setbacks in a game. So it is okay to feel disheartened when something doesn't work out in the classroom. We are tougher than that. So remember, just try again. Okay, because one day our hard work will really pay off and you will have a breakthrough with this child. And when you do, remember to celebrate this success and continue to nurture the love for learning, because a little nurturing from us goes a really long way. And before you know it, the child's curiosity will be bursting at the seams and they will be asking you all sorts of questions because they are finally ready to learn. To my juniors, I would like to encourage you to be bold, to not be afraid to just try new things. The fear will always be there, and that's just human nature. Go try out that new resource you've created, maybe even a classroom strategy you want to implement. And don't be afraid of the possibility of failure, but instead be excited of what is going to come and what you can do to adjust it to your students' needs. I've had students telling me directly that this is boring. So throw the question back to them. Ask them, what can I do to make it more fun for you? We have the power to engage our students in their learning, to create a safe classroom for them. So let's just utilize it to the best of our abilities. To everyone else, while we are educators, we are humans too. So remember that when things get overwhelming, notice that you need a break too. As my batch always reminds one another during our time together in the Dyslexia and the Essential Literacy Approach module, one day at a time. So once again, congratulations to the graduating class of 2021.